whatever you do it with love.
Lush, this is your studio. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? And we're able to capture this whole shot.
Oh.
So if you're going to point or move to something,
Cool.
totally
Well,
cool.
Looking at the drum set here, we got a, a Ludwig kit. And this is where the magic happens, y'all. You know, sometimes I come down here and I just make nonsense. Other times I'm down to business, you know. This is my studio. We call it the Grotto. What you're looking at. They were cheap. Oh, well, cheapish. I could have gotten like a $50 kit. But yeah, they were like, I don't know, like $7.50 at the time. And I got them at Sam Ash. And I just saw the blue, and I was like, I want a blue kit. And I know Ringo Starr, like Tame Impala, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I want that blue Ludwig kit. Give it to me right now. So I got it. Yeah, and I bit the bullet, bought it, and then I sold a shitload of my gear, like all my analog gear, that like was like really just like $10 here, $10 whatever, just a bunch of shit. Mm-hmm. I got this thing. I got this Zildjian K Constantinople. Changed my life. It's just, it kind of acts as like a crash as well as a ride. Very jazzy. When I want to wash it, awesome. This is also the newest edition. I got some new beats, some Zildjian hi-hats. They go well with everything. Hands down, best hi-hats I've ever owned in my life. Over the years, I've just kind of collected stuff like a fool. Like one would collect Hot Wheels race cars or something. Yeah, so, I mean, I just bought this mic kit off of Amazon. It's I forgot what it's called. It's like an SM57/52B something. I don't know. Anyway, I got one on the top of the snare, one on the top of the tom, and one right below the cymbal here. So there's 3 mics right here. They're loaded up into a snake that sits down yonder. Yeah, I mean, there's really no method for me. I mean, I know a lot of people who, you know, do this for a living. They take their time, and you know, you should. You should take your time when you're being paid to capture sound. Me, I do it for free. I do it out of my heart. So I just slap these babies on, and I'm ready to rock and roll, you know. So I got a kick mic over here. I cover it with a blanket just because I have a Beta 52A or B, something like that. Yeah, Beta 52A. It's beautiful. I love it. Picks up all the low frequencies. It's beautiful. It's got that click. It's everything. So I keep my Rezo head on. I don't have like a hole or a port or anything, which I've gotten a lot of shit for from like Putney and Britain, you know. They're like, dude, no. Even Rick was like, no. I'm like, bro, just let me do my thing. I don't want to go out and buy a Rezo head with a hole in it, nor do I want to heat up a freaking can of soup and burn one. So leave me alone. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This thing right here is an overhead mic. I got an AKG, what do you call it? P420. Blaze it. No, seriously, that's what it's called. It's a middle of the road mic, you know. It's done me well for a long time. I just kind of generally point it towards the kick, and it naturally just picks up all the other things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and there's my 6th mic is just pointing at the snare. It's just kind of like a bottom/side mic, but it picks up that sizzle, you know. It's not really like a you know, like that explosive attack that you get from a snare. It gets more of the aftermath, more of like a yeah, a little bit of the sustain as well, but like you're capturing the snares. You're capturing like the side profile of like what's hitting, like when the mic picks up something, it, you know, like the sound pressure, like it'll hit that mic like face forward, and that's like your attack, you know. But like if I go from the side, it's a little more of that sizzle, you know. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. You mix the two together and you get a snare sound. One of the hardest instruments to mix in the universe, some say.
Flow. So there's a snake that's down here on the floor. And this is the
28.
28 channel.
Yeah,
Right on.
I'm actually kind of just holding on to it for a buddy.
Now, where does that go?
So it actually it goes into this. This is very important for the sound. Okay, you got to make sure that you have a coil
Right.
of
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
The spaghetti makes it all. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And it's 100-foot. You have to have at least 100-foot. If you want to sound like me, you got to have a 100-foot snake.
Got it. Got it.
And then I'll pump it right into this baby right here. This is the holy grail. Goes from the snake to this thing. It's a digital Porta Studio, the DP24SD. It's made by Tascam. It's kind of their consumer grade home studio rigs. It's a honker.
It's a chunky
big
one.
one.
It's a chunky one.
It's like a tank, but it's even slower. Idea of what I do. So I have all my mics, and I want to record something, so I wait for it to load. I'll go ahead and give it some phantom power for the mics that need it, and I'll give it a little juice. I'll adjust the thing called the trim. Turn up my faders, get everything set to record, make sure everything is sourced correctly, so 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 2, 3 goes to 3, and so on and so forth. Like that. Now I can record up to 8 tracks simultaneously. Turn around, put on these guys. And yeah, I'm ready to go.
That's sick.
So I'll just be ripping, you know.
Now, does it let you bus within itself? Like,
Yes.
can you export? If you can explain part of that process too.
So I can bounce. Let's say I have 12 mono tracks to record on, so that's 12 separate tracks that are all usable. I can bounce up to 6 times, so I can record something with 12 tracks and bounce it to 1 track. And then I can record another 12, bounce it to the second track, and I can do that another 4 times. So I have a lot of room, but I assume that it's going to slow down this thing pretty damn quick if I start loading it up with a bunch of information. So I just generally try not to do that too much.
Yeah, I feel that.
But it is useful. The downsides to doing that all in-house on my digital recorder is that I don't have the I can't go in and tune to the details, so I'm pretty much just summing things up and just throwing it into a bulk package, and then I won't have any access to individual tracks beyond that. So
I see.
that's the downside, but it is pretty fun because some things just sound cooler when you don't touch them, you know. Sometimes we think we're doing good when we're actually doing bad. You know, sometimes things just sound good naturally. Not everything needs a compressor or an EQ. Not everything needs reverb or anything like that. Although I love effects. I'm slowly coming to realize that less is more. And you've heard that 1,000 times. So some of my favorites is this phaser, gotta love it. This delay, gotta love it. And this blues driver. Also gotta love that.
Ooh.
A lot of my tone comes from this thing. I don't even have it cranked most of the time. It just kind of adds its own color. And this also adds its own color as well. It's kind of hard to describe, but it all just adds to a really cool guitar sound, which I feel is unique to me and really speaks to me. So, but that's like I said, half the pedals. I have this one, for instance. An original 1982 Electric Mistress.
Really?
Yeah, it's a flanger filter matrix, so it just basically is a peak and an EQ, and it just sweeps and it goes. It's very, very noisy, but it's kind of cool.
Did you shop for these specifically for their effects, or was it just random finds? Was there any intention with it? Oh,
this was $10 at a garage sale back in the '80s when my dad was a little kid, and he just was like, "Here you go, son." I was like, "I like guitar."
I like guitar. I like doing stuff.
And I already destroyed it. There's a dent in there, and I broke off a knob, and I will never forgive myself for doing that. But it still works, so that's all that matters. Also, yeah, I fucked this thing up. Yeah, this thing's also fucked. It's probably worth $2 now, but well, nowadays, I'd have to say the Walrus Audio Julia, not because it's a bad pedal, but I just think I'm kind of phasing out from like the whole vibrato chorus effect. I'll still use the vibrato, but like chorus I don't really use at all these days. I kind of just swapped it out with the phaser. Also trying to use a little bit less of the Holy Grail, trying to like really put the guitar forward now. A lot of my mixes, they're all washed out and stuff, and it's cool. But like, you know, you've done that enough, so time to try something new. So as you can see, the knob is dialed back. So, but yeah, I mean, I basically use all of these at all times because that's where my tone comes from. But on top of that, I'll hook my guitar up to it. I'll show you my guitar in a second. That one's also pretty unique. I've had that for years. But I'll hook my guitar up to this. And then sometimes if I'm feeling extra, I'll put it through that Marshall amp.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll get some of the saturation from the tubes and some of its limitations as well.
Beautiful. Look at how beautiful it is.
Look at this. It's a microKORG.
Okay.
When I bought this, I was in Colorado. I was broke. I was broke beyond belief. Starving. Famished. but no, I saw it. It was for $150 at this what do you call it, pawn shop.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I didn't have the money, so I was like, listen, I need this, like, please, like, let me do payments. And they're like, yeah, we do payments. So it was $150, but I had to do payments on that.
Damn.
Yeah, so I had like $25 here this week, $25 there.
Yeah.
I was that broke, but I needed this thing. And I had no idea, like, that, you know, this thing's actually worth like $450.
Yeah,
I got it for $150. And it works perfectly fine. The only thing I gotta say is that the volume knob gets a little sizzle. You can actually hear that on a lot of my tracks.
Really?
Like when I'm like turning the volume down. It goes so, believe it or not, I don't know how to play the keys. I know how to make like not harmonies, lines, like this. I don't know how to use it. Believe it or not, I'm really good at this. So
he can read. This
I
boy can read.
It's very simple when you actually like get down to it. There's so much you can just keep going and going and going. I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg with this thing yet, but essentially you just select your doohickey and you're gonna be in these banks, and then you're gonna like fuck with it. I don't know how to
There's
teach
stuff
a class.
happening.
I don't know how to play it, but it sounds really awesome. I like to do a lot of ambient stuff with this thing.
Gotcha.
So like a lot of my swirling. I know what it is. Oh, it's a YPG 235.
Goo! The 235.
If you're ever looking for piano lessons and you want to find a piano lesson on YouTube, 9 times out of 10, someone's going to be playing one of these. I've seen a lot of YouTube tutorials where like someone's just chilling at their YPG 235 and they're just playing the fuck out of that thing. Me, on the other hand, it just kind of sits in the corner. I do not play keys. I don't hate the keys. I wish I was better. I'm just brain too tiny. So this is a 2010 Fender Stratocaster. Used to be Sienna Sunburst. I shaved it down because I didn't like my sweat marks being on it. Kind of weirded me out. I'm sure it weirded other people out as well. But yeah, I shaved it down. Put a new pickguard in there. Nothing else special other than that. All you need to know is that it's a Fender. It's a guitar. It's about 10 years old. What is it, 2023? 13 years old. But yeah, she sounds beautiful. The Ernie Ball 10s. I don't know. Super Slinky, I think they're called. It's a big green package. They're on the other side of that speaker right there. I feel like every guitarist you know is on this thing. And it even tells you, if you're a guitar player, then you know. Even on the other side, it goes across the entire list. These are all the musicians in the universe. They all use them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
So I use them too.
Dude.
Since I can't make my own strings, I have to settle for freaking Monopoly. D natural, I want to call it. Everything is just tuned like 2 steps down from like your standard guitar. I don't know too much theory, so I don't know all of the notes that it's in right now, but yeah, basically tune all of your strings 2 steps down, and then there you have it. I call it D natural.